Good evening, everybody. John Thompson again. I'm here for part 15 of my conversion of the 1426th Revell USS Arizona to the USS Pennsylvania. This is again the wartime version, World War II version of the USS Pennsylvania. I've made a lot of improvements and progress since my last video. One of the chief improvements has been rigging. I got some basic rigging done. I also changed out the aircraft, and I also did some more photo etch, very minor photo etch detailing on the model itself. So I will definitely show that to you in a second. I also want to let you know too that I did encounter some confusion with the rigging of the model. I've been looking at resources for the rigging. I did have a great outboard profile to work from Myron Smith's book. However, it is a little disorienting as to where the lines go. So when you match things up, keep in mind that you may foul a Mark 37 gun director. I did follow the exact placement according to where things would be. And I wound up fouling up the gun directors. So I know that basically they would normally have put lines away from something like that where you have a gun director or a gun turret. So that's something to keep in mind. A couple other things too that I sort of wanted to let you know too is I did put a ladder on the forward leg of that tripod, which they do show actually in the 1944 photo. I can see a sailor climbing that. The aft legs on the forward tripod mast, I believe, may have had ladders on them. I have to look up and kind of see what's going on. I have a little bit of brass ladder left from the gold medal model set, so I may actually take some of that and put that into the gun tubs in the back of the ship, the aft end of the ship where the aft fire tower is. So those are things that I have to do. I've also been doing some touch-up work, and I did tonight get to put on the American flag, so it's sort of basically starting to signal to me that I may be coming into the home stretch of completing this project soon. So without further ado, I'm going to show the model, and you guys get to see what I did. Here you go. I'm showing you guys the starboard side. I'm going to do a quick little turnaround here. Here you can see, looking at it from the bridge, looking aft. Turn her around again. You're going to look at her dead astern. And now here is the port side. Now you'll notice here the rigging is a very basic rigging that I did. I used a tan thread, and there's a reason why I used the tan thread. The tan thread is used for purposes to make the rigging visible. Typically on this kind of scheme, your rigging would probably be the same color as the ship itself. It probably would have been that sea blue that they used to basically preserve the camouflage measure on the ship that they were using at the time. The other thing I also wanted to point out too, I've seen a lot of controversial posts where they'll show the deck painted deck tan, and of course you'll have the navy blue paint scheme. I actually went against doing that and rather tried to follow as close as possible the navy blue scheme. Navy blue scheme basically means that you're going to have navy blue on all vertical surfaces of the hull and deck blue on all horizontal surfaces and decks. So that means basically everything horizontal is going to be a deck blue color. Now, some of you may ask, okay, what's the difference between deck blue and the navy blue? Actually, not a whole heck of a lot. It's a slight difference in color, but I use the same shade overall for the blue because that reflects basically the color fading out and weathering, so it'll be more of a consistent shade and color. So that's the reason I went with that. The other thing I want to let you know is I put the smaller 38s on. I have to use Microsol to put them on. Did start putting an American flag on board. In addition to that, she also has the upper mast completed. I'm going to show this to you again here. Hang on one second. There we go. You can see the upper mast here where I basically added some additional bracing. I added radar, and I put a couple halyards in. The rigging was very, like I said, I had to follow the outboard plan to do the rigging, and unfortunately, it's not very accurate. And unfortunately, with that, you're going to wind up having an issue where you put lines and you start fouling things. I mean, like fouling your Mark 37 gun directors like I did. And so that was an issue I sort of had to work through. It took me a couple of tries to fix. So that's the other thing. I've also encountered the typical rigging issue where you get all the lines nice and perfectly tight and taut, and then you put the last line in, make it taut, and the one right in the middle goes slack. I've had that happen. It's not a very fun thing to fix, so that's something else to keep in mind. So I've been doing that. I've also encountered situations too in not only the rigging aspects of the model, but also like the airplanes. I had struggled with trying to go with the Kingfishers or the paper Kingfishers, leaving them on, or going with the aircraft that she actually had, the 1945 scheme. What I wound up doing was I wound up going with the Curtiss airplanes. So the Vought Kingfishers got removed and replaced them. I painted them. They look great, except I had to use the 1/700 scale decals. So that meant that the national insignia is a little smaller. Still looks good. I wish I did have bigger decals to work with, though. So that's something that, like I said, I'm building this model little bits at a time, here and there. So that's that. And then, of course, I have the awning, like I said, still going on forward. And so it's gonna go get put in a display case. I have to add signal flags yet to the halyards, so that's the next goal on the model. And that's about it. I may actually contemplate putting photo etch ladders on the 20 millimeter gun tubs near the aft fire tower. So that's a possibility. I have to look into that again and see. One of the other things I may also have to do would be to possibly put ladders on the rear tripod legs forward. So that's something that may come up as an option in the future for this model. I have to do a little more research into that and see actually what was really there. If not, then I'll do the 20 millimeter tubs. I'm using what was left over basically from my gold medal photo etch set. So I've been using parts and pieces that are left over. So I'm trying not to waste anything. I'm not really in a position where I can go out and just buy stuff at a whim. I'm also trying to be frugal and try to put this thing together on a shoestring just to show people what can be done. The main things, like I said, we're replacing the superstructure in this project, which made a huge improvement on the model. So that's definitely something else. One of the other things I do want to point out is I tried a new technique with my rigging that normally when rigging scale model ships I hadn't had to do in the past. What I would do would be I used to tie all my rigging lines off, meaning that I would start at one point, tie it off, put a drop of CA on it to hold it in place, tighten the line up, and tie it. Simple overhand knot. Basically, that would hold it. That works, but you do get a problem. There's a caveat with that. The caveat is you wind up getting what they call line buildup. And if you're tying several lines over an area, you're going to have that nice little skinny mast. It's going to get fat with line, and it looks very unsightly. So that's something that I tried to avoid on this model. It took a couple tries to get the rigging to the point where I think it would look right. The big thing I was trying to avoid again was fouling equipment. I know, basically fouling those Mark 37 gun directors. That was the big thing there. Other than that, it's coming along. I'm in the home stretch. So this I'm actually going to probably say is going to be the end of part 15. And it's been a pleasure, and have a great evening.